JP poll is out. These are not rankings. We do those on Thursday. This has nothing to do with the AP. These are not teams that are ranked. These are not rankings. These are power ratings. So this absolutely is the model telling us what order it would favor these teams against each other on a neutral field. So, a couple of things to note before we get into it here. There is some separation starting to happen at the top of the SEC. Now, we thought that in the preseason. Remember, in the preseason, everyone told you at media days and stuff, Georgia, Texas, Alabama, LSU, those were going to be the top four. And there was going to be a little separation, which I thought was kind of foolish, but that's what people said. Well, it turns out we do have a top four and then a little bit of a separation. But the top four is A&M and Alabama and Ole Miss and Georgia. Those are the top four. We'll get to that in a second. Also, very interesting to note, as we head into this weekend, Vanderbilt's playing Texas. Very interesting to note, Texas they're down 10 points in the model off of their preseason power rating. Vandy is +7, I think, off of their preseason rating. So in the net, we have a 17-point adjustment in that particular matchup over what the number would have been on a neutral field in the preseason. So let's dive in. Iowa is number 20, which is important to note because they're not ranked in the AP poll right now, which is pathetic. And although this is not meant to be a ranking, Iowa should be ranked in the AP poll. LSU is 19. Vanderbilt's 18. Louisville is 17. So Missouri at 16 is not with the quarterback injury factored in. We do need to adjust that because sometimes when guys are out but they're going to be back soon, we don't remove them. And quarterback sometimes is worth a few points. We still have Bo Perbula in there. I didn't notice that until too late today. There's not a huge gap between him and the backup there. Maybe a couple of points, though. So I would venture to think Missouri, once we make that adjustment, may fall out of the top 20. But right now, they're number 16. USC is 15. Some interesting movement in the Big 12 here. Texas Tech is 14th. And Oklahoma's 13th. And Utah is 12th. The model actually has Utah as the highest power-rated team in the Big 12. That is a change. Utah's up 4 spots from last week, and they overtook Texas Tech. Now, you may think to yourself, wait, didn't they already play? Yes, they did. And didn't they play in Utah's home building? Yes. And didn't Texas Tech roll them? They did. So what does this mean? It means the model would favor Utah against Texas Tech if they played in the Big 12 title game right now. And I'll have to hit FanDuel up and see what they think about that. But yeah, just a little interesting thing to note. That's been a trend for a few weeks. I've been telling you for a few weeks, if those two teams play, that spread's not going to be nearly as big, at least in the model, as you think it may be. Texas is at 11. Whew. So here we are. We're at the week of this game between Texas and Vanderbilt, and everyone's been wondering, oh, what would the spread be? What would the spread be? Well, without Arch, now this is with Arch, but without Arch, Texas a short favorite at home, but Texas is an implied 1-point dog on a neutral field. That shows you the model, shocker of the year here, is a little bit higher on Texas than FanDuel is. I know it's not like the model to be drunk on Texas, but it is just this once. We continue. Shame on the model. Hey, wait just a second. Appreciate you guys watching. Most of you are subscribed. If you're not, please do so. It's free. It helps us keep the show free, and that's how we do college football year round. All right, back to the video. Tennessee is in the top 10. Tennessee's at number 10. Miami is at number 9. Miami dropped 2 spots. I think the model looked at that first half performance last week and said, hold on a second. I think that's all it said. We've got Notre Dame at number 8. So Notre Dame's ahead of Miami, where I think they should be. Oregon's number 7. Oregon is down 4 spots. They struggled against Wisconsin. It was in a rainstorm. I know a lot of you didn't see that. It was gross weather. They beat Wisconsin. The model did ding them because they performed well below expectation. They play at Iowa next week. Iowa's number 20. That's going to be a tough game for them. Don't just overlook that. People keep saying, oh, Oregon, man, They got a 2-game season left. They got USC and Washington at the end of the year. They got Iowa next week. Let's keep an eye on that. Georgia's at number 6. Top 5. Ole Miss has cracked the top 5. They're up 4 spots. Ole Miss is number 5. I believe that's the highest they've been in the power rating. Bama is 4. A&M is up 5 spots to 3. And then it's Indiana 2, Ohio State 1. The gap between Ohio State and Indiana is 2.5 points right now. The gap between Ohio State and the next closest team, which is A&M, is 5 points right now. So we got a gap. We got a gap between Ohio State and not a huge one between them and Indiana. But the important thing to note is the model is sitting there solidly telling you 2 best teams in the country are in the Big Ten right now. And then 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 10th, 11th, 16th, 18th, 19th. It's just a bunch of SEC teams, but there's not a great one. They're just a bunch of pretty good ones. We'll see what that means come playoff time. Because if that holds steady, it doesn't matter how deep the SEC is. Ohio State's just going to win the national title, and it doesn't really matter how many SEC teams they got to go through to do it. Or do we have a situation where Ohio State doesn't get tested nearly as much as those teams do, and then it pays dividends for those teams in the playoff? Don't know. That's why we're going to play the playoff. But the gap between number 3 and 9, which is the gap between Texas A&M and Miami, is 2.5 points. So there's a wider gap between number 1 and number 3 than there is between number 3 and number 9 right now. Just some interesting math there, I thought. Academy Sports and Outdoors will not fight you. They will welcome you in. They will show you around. They will probably put products in front of your face that you never knew Academy carried. They are a longtime partner of the show. It is getting close to that season. It is getting close to time for you to start marking items off that list. You could be shopping for yourself. It's great. I highly recommend it. You could be shopping for a niece or nephew, aunt or uncle, sister or brother, mother, father. Equal opportunity at Academy. You need kayaks. You need a baseball bat. You need Big League Chew. Let's be honest, we all do at some point in our lives. Academy Sports and Outdoors has it, and academy.com if you can't get there in person.